Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joe Sonona with Coffee Talk with the Listing Pros in Real Estate, presented by Sonona Speaks Seminars. And my guest this week is Eliot Lonardo of Signature Premier Properties. Welcome to the show, Eliot.
Thank you, Joe. I greatly appreciate you having me on. Before we start, I wanted to wish you and your lovely wife a very happy 12th wedding anniversary.
Thank you so much.
Hard to believe that my wife and I are going to be 14 years next Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah, she's put up with me. And
happy anniversary to you both.
Thank you. Crazy business we're both in, and we're very lucky to have such supportive spouses that understand what we go through.
That was good. That was a very nice disclaimer for both Rebecca and for Maria. So this way, when they see the show, they'll give us a little bit of leeway on what we do wrong in our marriages.
I do plenty wrong, trust me.
Well, thank you very much again for being in the show. And in full disclosure, Eliot's one of my good friends, so that we're going to just either let our hair go wild with us today with some of these questions, or we're just going to ask the questions that we normally ask of any other guest on the show. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got started in real estate.
So I started in real estate as actually an investor. About 20 years ago, I started buying properties out of state in Las Vegas, Florida. And my mentor, he's like, you like people, you're very good at the investment side. Why don't you get your real estate license? And that's what I did. So in the year 2003, I went to real estate school. And in 2004, I started my career. And I've never looked back. It's a very rewarding career, very crazy, to say the least, the ups and the downs. But somehow every year I continue moving forward. And, so I love it. I mean, there's no better job in life than to help people and, having a small part of their life and watching them become clients, customers, and then ultimately becoming friends. It's been very rewarding for me, and I could never see myself doing anything else, honestly.
Correct. You're 100% right. So getting into the listing topic, this is what this show teaches to all agents out there. What is Eliot Lonardo's secret sauce to listing properties?
I would say my secret sauce is really and truly working within your community. And when I started out in the business, I was going to take over everywhere. I mean, I was going to list everywhere, Nassau, Suffolk, and I do. But certainly, I live in Huntington. That is my area, township, and just focusing on the township, being involved. I serve on 2 different boards for the town of Huntington, the Affordable Housing Advisory Board, which is great, especially on Long Island, where we do need more affordable housing because it is a very expensive place to live. On the flip side, I do serve on the Board of Assessment Review for the town of Huntington. So when people want to agree with their taxes, we take a look at that and make sure they're being assessed at the correct value. I'm also very involved within my school district, South Huntington. I do serve as a trustee on the South Huntington Educational Foundation. Anytime there is an organization within the town that does need assistance, I'm always there, helping them to make Huntington a better place to live and our community.
So being involved in your community gives you a greater opportunity to be with people who are interested in either selling or buying. Would you say that you have an even ratio with the number of people looking to sell, or is it like more buyers than sellers? I mean, being involved as you are in your community.
I would say it's a healthy mix of both. Certainly, it's nice when, like right now, I'm helping one of my classmates from my high school with a sale and the purchase of their next home. So I would say it's about 50-50 for me, which I love because, but I really like being the expert within in the South Huntington School District, especially because, again, I grew up here my whole life. My daughters, my little one is 5. She'll be going into kindergarten. And my older daughter, she is going to be 7, going into 2nd grade. But and people know me. I was honored last year by the school district. So, it's good to be the expert in a community. I mean, I do sell and list, wherever the opportunity presents itself. But listing home base is always, the best.
Exactly. Like my listing home base is Long Beach, New York, and there's no greater feeling than to serve your own town and to serve its people and to make that American dream come alive for, our townspeople, right? The people that live in our town.
And like I always tell people, if they're looking in Long Beach, I have the best realtor there. And, so.
Likewise in Huntington.
Well, I appreciate that.
No, I was talking about me going to Huntington. I'm only kidding. So let me ask you a question. What advice would you give to being that you've been in real estate quite a while, but you've seen older agents in the business, such as, let's say, myself? I'm 30 years in. And what advice would you give to an older real estate agent looking at what's going on right now in today's real estate environment?
Well, I would definitely say education, and no pun intended, is key. I feel that a lot of, and I see it, a lot of the older agents, seasoned, so to speak, that they have not had to take continuing education. Thank God that has now been eliminated, to where everybody, regardless if in the business for 5 years or 50 years, will have to get back in the classroom and take 22 and a half hours of the continuing education. I also think being involved, I mean, certainly I'm involved on my local level and also on the state level. I was a director locally for Huntington, and now I do serve as a director for the New York State Association. It is great being involved. You learn so much about what is going on, and whether it's fair housing issues or whether it's, just refreshing, taking a class on agency. People do forget. And I do think that education, I mean, I try to attend all the conferences, and it's great being involved because you are on the forefront of what is happening within our local government as well as our state government.
Do you think older agents have an advantage to getting listings over, let's say, a newer agent?
Without a doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
I do, because I mean, I just turned 42, and I think it still amazes me how so many people, which I'm blessed and honored, that trust me with, in most cases, their largest investment. And, being like, an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old or a 25-year-old, it is like getting the opportunity without having, 50 years of experience is certainly challenging. Where, if you are in the business for, 20 years, it's a lot easier, I would say, as long as you are a strong agent.
So let's talk about that experience, from a new perspective. So what advice would you give to a newer agent just coming into the business? You personally, if you had to look back at Eliot back then versus Eliot now, what advice would you give to that guy, that new agent, that you would do differently?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, looking back, and I still look back and reflect upon my 16-year plus career, you're not going to take over the real estate world. I mean, I wish you the best, but that's not reality. I would say find your strong suit, find your niche. Definitely work in a farm area. Don't say you're everything to everybody. Certainly, I wish that I had had that advice, because I think that my projection and direction would have been different. I mean, when I started out, I was a rental agent. I love my rental business. There's nothing wrong with rentals as long as you do them the proper way. And I see so many people that shouldn't do rentals because they have no idea on how to do a rental properly. And there's so much more, in my opinion, liability in a rental than there is, with contracts and sales and lawyers, because there's no attorneys generally in a rental or lease.
Well, it all goes back to education.
And it does.
Right?
It does. But I do think that, having the rentals, I mean, I exposed me to so many more people, landlords that became investors, tenants who became buyers. So, I do believe that, just got to find what you're comfortable in, your niche. And again, like, if you live in Huntington, like myself, I'd rather refer out a buyer to Manorville, let's say, than pretending you know Manorville, because, let's face facts. I mean, we know Long Island, but you should really stick to what you know.
And where the best, and where you can best serve your clientele.
And that's what it's really about. I mean, it's about serving your clients, and again, I see so many people that, whether it's North Shore, South Shore, East or West, that, they have no idea. I mean, I even see, like, an out of area agent that gets a listing in my area and doesn't even know what school district that house goes to. I mean, they're doing you a disservice. I mean, we're in the service business, and to me, it's always about service.
So when you list a property, what kind of technology tools do you do to enhance the listing, other than the MLS, and do all sorts of passive marketing with the signs? What else do you personally do to bring about the sale of that property?
I mean, I think social media is huge. I'm very active within social media. All my houses, I don't care if it's $300,000 or $3 million, all my houses get professional photos, floor plans. I'm starting to use drones more now for every house. I think it's awesome having, the top-down view of the whole yard. But social media is huge. I think it is such a great platform, and so many agents should be utilizing it. I feel that, especially new agents, I always laugh because they're like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be this. And I'm like, stop being a secret agent. You can't be a secret agent and be successful. So you got a listing, put it on Facebook. Say, please feel free to share. Put it on Instagram. I mean, people need to know what you do for a living. My wife is a veterinarian, and trust me, I tell everybody my wife's a veterinarian, and she tells everybody that her husband is a realtor. There's no secrets when it comes to occupations in our family.
That's right. Well, you're certainly visible on social media, and I've seen a lot of your posts, and I've seen a lot of your but it's different the way you do it, because you're not pretentious, by saying, oh, look at me, I just listed this. Oh, look at me, I just sold this. I look at me, I'm at a closing. You do it in a style, in a grace, and I've seen that, and and I think that's why people gravitate to you more so, because your presence is not, for lack of a better word, annoying.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I do. I try not to be annoying. I mean, there's more to Eliot than just real estate. I'm a family man. I'm involved in my community. I think that people like to see what I call the total package. Just not like, oh, I listed a home, I sold a home, I listed a home, I sold a home. That's annoying. You'll lose the audience that way. I mean, there are people, and I'm sorry if some of my friends will be watching this. I unfollow people because at the end of the day, great, you sold another home. But what is that?
But what have you done for your community?
What have you done? I mean, I love being involved with LIBOR. I love being involved in the state. I love being involved in my community.
I was just going to say, on an association level, on a real estate association level, you've been involved as a director. You've been involved as a as a member of YPN, Young
Correct.
Professionals Network.
And also a
Talk about
winner.
that.
2014, I did win the YPN top 20 under 40, which I'm very grateful that I did receive that. You know,
That's great. And you also you involve yourself in the not I don't want to say the politics, but we advocate, you and I, for home ownership. And when we go up to Albany for Lobby Day, we've both been in Washington to lobby there on a federal level for home ownership rights, flood insurance. This is why we get along together, because together and collectively we care about the communities that we serve and the people that we serve.
so
So
you know,
that's awesome.
and I think that I mean, realtors, for some strange reason, we have this like odd reputation of being like used car sales people, and we're not. I mean, we're not. There's no greater privilege, honestly, to help somebody with the American dream. I mean, my father, he is an immigrant. He came here when he was 19 from Italy, and watching what he has achieved in the 50 plus years he has been here, he has instilled in my sister and I that you work hard, you're honest, you'll be successful. And whether we're in DC, we're in Albany, it's awesome that state senators know my name, state assemblymen know my name, and that I can, you and me can actually call these people, and when we are having an issue or one of our clients is having an issue, and gets on the phone to help, is really wonderful.
It is. And my father and mother came too from Italy as immigrants, and I think when you come to this country in pursuit of a dream, and then you look to have your own home. My father used to say, no home is best served or best built without a very strong foundation. And I think my father could have been a real estate agent, but he just loved to peruse homes on a Sunday afternoon with my mom. And that's how pretty much I developed a love for homes in my career, because we used to go out on a Sunday afternoon drive as a kid, and we used to look at homes. We used to go into people's open houses. Tell me, what do you think the future of real estate will be in this new, this new norm, as we call it, post quarantine? I don't want to say post COVID-19, because we still have it, but post quarantine, what do you think? What is real estate going to be about? I mean, so far we're getting glimpses of it now with masks and booties and gloves and all this sorts of protection. But what does it look like for you and me?
Well, I mean, I would say like right now, it's not a normal time. This is not the new normal. This is not normal. And I'm, from what I'm gauging, the market is very hot. Certainly, we have a lot of buyers coming out of the city. You have a lot of people that want more space. And I think with interest rates being as low as they are currently, real estate's in a good place right now. Yes, are we having to booty up and to glove and to Purell and hazmat suits? But I mean, buyers are still
Pretty
out
soon.
there. Buyers are still out there. They're buying. I called this morning on a listing, and she's like, we had 12 offers on it. We had to take the house off the market temporarily because they were just being inundated with phone calls. So I do think that currently, right now, it's a great time to buy. And if you're a seller, especially if you're a seller, it's a great time to sell because being part of 2004 to 2008, bidding wars, it's back. So if you're a seller, I would encourage. I would encourage you. I mean, obviously, on the sell side, a buyer is going to pay more, and then if you're buying, you're gonna have to pay more on the purchase.
Do you do special preparation for all your listings before you put them out there for the public to come in? Do you do any other than photography, and do you do any type of staging?
I don't do any staging. I mean, certainly I do encourage my sellers to declutter. It's amazing how much people collect, in their lifetime. And I do ask them, to a lot of photos on the wall to just you can have some photos, but I can't have a wall of photos. But I do
How do
have
you handle a homeowner who's got a dirty house or a smelly house? What do you tell them in a nice way?
in a nice
I'm
way.
just curious.
I mean, I you know what? I got to be honest, and and I always preface it as the eyes of a buyer. So if I'm a buyer and I'm coming into your house and it smells, they're going to know. They're going to smell that. So I do have to be honest with my sellers that if they do have a dirty house, I'll ask them to paint. I'll ask them to pick up carpets. I try to understand where they're coming from, certainly, but if you want top dollar, you're going to have to do the best to showcase your house in the best light.
So this is a show that is centered around listings, of course, and the foundation of our business is Fiduciary Responsibilities, and the old acronym that I love to talk about is old car. Old car: obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accountability, and reasonable care. If you, Eliot, Lonardo, had to pick one of those, and I know they're all important to you, but if you had to pick one of your favorites, which one would you pick and why?
I like confidentiality. I think that is, the old car is definitely all very important, but confidentiality is really the most important to me because whether it's a divorce or any kind of a situation, as a fiduciary to my seller, I never want to undermine them from getting the highest and most money. And I think that I look at like the eBay system, in terms of listings. People always go to me, well, how much will they take? And it's like eBay. You can buy it now at the asking price, or you could of course offer more, or you can make an offer. But I do think like when I go into an open house, well, when I went to open houses, and somebody would ask that question to the listing agent, let's say I was with a buyer, and they'd be like, oh, they're getting divorced, or oh, they're being relocated. In the mind of a buyer, it says, oh, they're desperate to sell the home. So confidentiality to me is the most utmost of importance because, whether you're relocating or you hit the lottery and you're buying yourself a mansion, so many agents, unfortunately, in all my years of experience, they have no idea what their fiduciary duties are, let alone what agency is.
That's why they clump us in with car salesmen, because they think that we're fluffing and not. And everybody should remember that not all car salesmen are that way, and not all realtors are that way. But these are the reasons why people clump us in, and they don't list with us. And you see more people listing as for sale by owner, or they're putting them out on Zillow or wherever they are. They can get their hands on a free service, but they don't realize the care and the confidentiality that we hold dear to us.
Without a doubt, Joe. Without a doubt. It was funny. Recently, I had a condo I was selling, and I offered out 2% for broker, 2% for buyer.
Two lollipops. Okay, go ahead.
2 lollipops. Sorry.
This is a teaching.
And one of and there was an agent who was representing her sister, and she goes, "Oh, I'm coming in as a broker's agent," and I'm like,
You're not getting my lollipops.
You're not getting any lollipops from me." And then she's like, "What do you mean?" And then I had to explain to her that obviously a family member, you would have to come in as a buyer's agent. You would
so
not
let me see. Code of ethics, law of agency. I mean, they're all playing into that scenario. It just amazes me that people don't realize that they make mistakes, and I want to say they're innocent mistakes, But that goes back to education. That goes back to what you said in the beginning. You have to learn how to educate yourself in the business, get refreshed. Maybe they got complacent over the years and they didn't realize it.
Well, as I said, I can tell you that even like what I'm noticing now, the market's hot, and listen, we all want to be the best agents. Oh, look at me, I sold another house, great. But I mean, from what I'm seeing, oh, I have an accepted offer, and you're showing the photo of a house that's not yours. Oh, under contract, the listing isn't yours. I mean, like, these are all code of ethics violations, and I mean, and it's like, to me, like, for example, last month I put a home under contract, and I'm very friendly with that listing agent. And I said to her, if you don't mind, I'd like to post that we're under contract. Of course, I will tag you in the post, thanking you. It's been a pleasure working with you. I said, also, I will need you to text me that it is okay for me to use your photo and to put that post on Facebook. And she said, of course, Eliot, not a problem. But I mean, every day I'm seeing agents that are breaking laws, and all it takes, we're self-policing. I mean, all it takes is one broker, one manager to be like, why is your listing with a photo under contract with another agent that has no affiliation with our company? So
this is why we have all these disclosure forms and all these people inventing more forms, and they're killing more trees because we're not doing our job, or we're sleeping on our.
I always say that if you're an environmentalist, real estate is not the career for you, because between driving around, I said to my wife always, I don't know another
one file.
Exactly. I always say to my wife, I don't know another profession where literally I can get into a car, drive half an hour to show one house that they hate, for me to drive all the way back half an hour back to my house. I mean, it's a crazy business in between.
So when we were in quarantine, Zoom became, and virtual tours became the norm while we were in quarantine. Do you think we're going to go back to virtual tours? Do you think that's ended, or do you think that, like you said, to cut down the admissions of showing one house, we can show them a virtual tour, and then if they like it, they could go back in? Is that the future of open houses as well?
I mean, I always believe that we have to get into a house. I mean, we could do drones and Matterports and 3D and, everything else. But, being in a home and going back before, smelling a home, feeling a home, seeing a home. I mean, I always think it's funny because I spend more time test driving cars and, than I do, like, yeah, we see a home, the buyer likes, we have the home inspection, but it's only a matter of hours that they're spending in a home. They're not sleeping in the house. They're not, they're not there, days at a time.
But this is the most important purchase of their life.
Like my car. I mean, I've gone, I went to 6 different dealerships to test drive the same car to get a better deal, and I got to spend, on the highway, but a house. Never slept there a day in my life, but here's $500,000.
But there's a difference between buying a car or test driving a car and looking at a home. In a home, you want to make sure that this is where you want to be, right?
Without a doubt. I mean, certainly
cars are replaceable.
But I mean, honestly, Joe, if you think about it, like I had a closing last week, and I would say that my buyers probably spent a total of like between going to the home the first time, going back the second time, the home inspection, then the walkthrough. I mean, they might have spent 5 hours in this house total. And now they're going to live there for the next, hopefully this is a step up. So hopefully the next 20, 25 years. But I always think real estate is a funny business like that because, we don't spend any nights in a house before we actually buy the house.
We should do it like, the Bachelor and the Bachelorette. You get to go into the suite first, test drive the house, and then if you like it, you can marry it the next day or something. Exactly. Well, we're coming to an end here on our interview. Is there anything that you'd like to add? Last minute advice? I mean, certainly have covered a lot.
thank you for having me on. I'm really privileged to have met you. I would never have met you and a multitude of other people if I was not involved with LIBOR on a local, a Long Island level, and especially on a state level. I mean, I have friends everywhere on Long Island, Nassau, Suffolk, Queens, the city, upstate. And, so get involved. You can make a difference. I feel that I will continue to be involved. This is my passion. This is my career. This is my calling. But, you have to love what you do. You do, because in this business, again, as we discussed in the beginning, I mean, it is a roller coaster of emotions and, but I'm very blessed that I have a great following and a great family. But again, just stick with it. If you love it, you're not going to make $1 million the first year. I wish you well, but you can definitely make and earn a good living. But you just have to stick to it, be consistent with it, and just never give up, and just always have a positive attitude.
That's right. Well, thank you, Eliot, for being on Coffee Talk this week. And this is Joe Sonona with Sonona Speaks Seminars bidding you adieu. And stay tuned for my next episode of Coffee Talk coming up right here on Facebook, Fridays at 11 o'clock. And thanks again, once again, Eliot Lonardo from Signature Premier Properties.
All right, Joe.
Thank you, Eliot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.